What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Dread, and I ain't made a video for my hip hop heads in a while, but I got the perfect one to do one about because I had asked a few of my Facebook friends last night what their top 5 hip hop diss tracks were of all time. Before I get into which one mine are and why, I'm gonna say what my honorable mentions are. You got Young Jeezy 2423, he's dissed to Gucci Mane. You got Shot Down, that's DMX and 50 Cent's diss to Ja Rule, and DMX and 50 Cent's buried this to Ja Rule, which buried his career pretty much. You got Notorious B.I.G.'s Who Shot You, but some people even debate if that was even really a diss track because that came out prior. Biggie claims that came out prior to Tupac's first shooting, and of course you got Hit 'Em Up by Tupac. I mean, and some people will argue that that's one of the most controversial disses ever, and it's a big reason as to why he got killed. But anyway, my number 5 diss track of all time has got to be Jay-Z, The Takeover. Now, The Takeover, that's pretty much what lit the match and almost set the fuel in the fire for the beef between Jay-Z and Nas. I mean, because if you listen to the track, I mean, that shit did go hard because he threw a lot of personal subliminal shots. I mean, and for you to understand it, you really have to know the background of both Jay-Z and Nas because that whole line, you know who, did you know what, did you know who, let's keep that between me and you. That was a reference to Jay-Z sleeping with Nas's ex-wife or ex-girlfriend or whoever it was at the time. But lyrically, that song is fire. The beat, the song is hot. I mean, and I forgot who he sampled from, but you know, that's one of the more popular disses. And some people are debating today who won the beef between Jay-Z and Nas, but you can decide that, and I'll get to that later on in the video. Number 4 diss track of all time has got to be Ice Cube with No Vaseline. I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, I don't really need to go any further than that because Ice Cube, he held it down. I mean, he held it down for the West Coast. I mean, because when he fell off from NWA, he felt like he had to carry a torch for the West Coast, and by doing that, he had to diss the group that made him famous. I mean, but for somebody like, that shows you what kind of level he was on as an artist. It shows you what kind of level he was on lyrically. I mean, because for him, Ice Cube from the West Coast diss one of the greatest groups of all time and hit them all on a personal level, you gotta have some balls of steel to do that. And that showed that Ice Cube was a force in the late 80s and early 90s. He wasn't to be messed with, and they knew better than to really mess with him now. And Ice Cube, I don't think anybody today can really still mess with him because he's an OG. Nobody really messes with him now as far as diss track, and that's pretty much why he's doing movies and everything now. But anyway, number 3, Eminem, Nail in the Coffin. And that's pretty much what it was, Nail in the Coffin, because he pretty much just buried Ben Zeno's rap career with just that one diss track. Of course, you got the sauce, and that was hot too, but that didn't sting nowhere near as much as Nail in the Coffin did. Nail in the Coffin, that diss was just like taking a 24-inch samurai sword, jamming it in Ben Zeno's back, slicing it vertically, and pouring acid, alcohol, and salt into the open wound. I mean, he hit so hard personally. I mean, even people who was fans of Eminem, that shit made them cry because they felt like they was getting this just by listening to this shit. And you know, there's no comparison. I mean, you know, nobody in the day, no, I don't think anybody today. It's very few people who can fuck with Eminem lyrically and actually survive and go one-on-one in a beef with him and come out on top. Number 2, Canibus, second round knockout. His famous or infamous diss to LL Cool J. Now, when that disc first came out, it's like nobody really knew who Canibus was. He was just new, he was fresh, and LL Cool J, he was already on top of the hip hop game in the mid and late 90s. People like, man, who's this kid think he is? Who's new kid think he is coming out trying to diss LL Cool J? But when people actually sat down and listened to what Canibus had to say, people were like, damn, he just tore LL a new one, and he did that shit on a personal level. And Canibus, I mean, I'll talk about him in another video too. But Canibus, he is a freaking lyrical monster. Nobody else can really mess with him too. That's why I want to see a more public beef between him and Eminem, because that one kind of flew under the radar. But yeah, you know, that's one of the untouchable diss tracks ever. Now, my number 1 diss track of all time. And as a Jay-Z fan, it really, really pains me to say this. Ether by Nas. Man, as a Jay-Z fan, that shit made me cry listening to it. But that's I mean, when he set the standard for what diss tracks are supposed to be. Lyrically murderous, hot beat, personals. I mean, that had everything that a diss track that had everything in a diss track that you could ever want, and everything in a diss track that was supposed to be. I mean, and I think even a lot of the Jay-Z fans who first listened to this track, they thinking, damn, Nas won. He just pretty much just ripped Jay-Z a new asshole. And I would love to see the look on Jay-Z's face when he first heard that diss track. But Yeah, man. And that makes me wonder. I mean, Nas lyrically, he is unfuckwittable. Yes, that's a real word. And that makes me want to see somebody stupid enough to diss him, like Gucci. I wish Gucci Man would be stupid enough to diss him. Somebody like Waka Flocka or OJ and Juice Man, because Nas will bury your career, and he's proved that time and time again. But anyway, those are my top 5 diss tracks of all time, and my bonuses, my honorable mentions. What are yours? Anyway, I'm out, y'all.